2026. And we'll go straight to public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? No. On to the approval of the agenda.
Motion approved.
We have a motion to approve and a second for the approval of the agenda. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to the consent agenda. Approval of regular meeting minutes, June 15 of 2026. Approval of checks. Approval of payroll period. Approval of June general fund receipts. Approval of June utility billing adjustments. Approval of May financial statements and bank reconciliation. Approval of MLS beer inventory update. Motion to approve consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a move and second. Any other discussions?
I had a discussion about what we paid Mary Brelsma $120 to mow 210 with Osborne.
That was,
Don't we have a mower?
you do, but the EDA paid, not the city. Different checking accounts. And the EDA had chosen to have Mary mow when nobody was living there. That was what that payment was for.
Okay, thank you for clarification there.
Absolutely.
Any other discussions or questions? We're good? All in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to regular agenda. Carly Miller. I'll ask her to come forward and have a seat. Or you can stand,
Can I stand?
however you want to do, you can stand.
Well, I'm here tonight to ask questions and give comments on the library, which is zone business, and Creamway, which is zone business. I know the city owns the library, I understand that, but we have rules, laws, ordinance, and regarding quality buildings. And the building at the Creamery has been falling for some time. The weeds there are because he doesn't move the machinery. There was at least 6 kids at our rummage sale, and it's a concern of mine that it doesn't have to just be kids, I'm not pointing down, but, you know, somebody might go in there, and to me, that would be terrible if that barn fell on them. Just wondering if something could be addressed in maybe the RAS or remove project from the water bill. My opinion, because I used it, could we maybe look at raising that to maybe $3 a month? Usually a person doesn't ask for a raise in a bill, but maybe it would get rid of some of these buildings in town. I don't know. It'd be, I just don't think $3 should affect anybody, really. Also going to talk very much of the council, could look at the weed and grass ordinances. It's not working. Can mowing be added to the water bill instead of at the end of the year, the taxes? Just an idea, you know, because then if they don't pay the bill, maybe their water will be shut off, then they'll notice it. We've had several, and Trevor knows this, in our area, and they just won't mow. They won't answer the phone. They won't answer the door. How soon can the city go down and mow and spray and trim weeds if they don't answer their phone, or if they don't, you know, communicate with the city or Andrea at City Hall? I mean, we're looking at almost a month in one of the houses down in our area. So can the city go down and mow it? Also a concern of mine is, I think that the fish house cannot be considered a man cave in our area. I don't know if it's licensed or not. I don't go on that property. But if you've had people living in it for 7+ years, isn't it time to be removed? I mean, a fish house isn't a place to live and or call it a man cave in my eyes. I hope some follow-up is truly considered on these issues, and I know the police department has tried. The bottom line is, I think it comes from the council. I feel that Andrea, Sean, Paul, Daryl, Trevor, and Carolyn have done an amazing job in this town. They are friendly, helpful, and very respectful. They don't extend their arm, point at people, talk downly of them, and I really commend them. They help people when you walk in, you gotta smile, and so forth. So when it comes time for these 6 individuals, I sure hope that they're rewarded in a great way. Great job to them. Thank you for your time tonight, and I hope that we can see some difference in our neighborhood down on Kinsey Street.
Thank you for your comments, Carly. Thank you for the positive
Thank you.
affirmations, that's good. Any discussion or we just move on? Next, proposal, facility assessment, Bolton and Mankey.
Sure.
Some background, Andrea.
Absolutely. So at a previous council meeting, it was asked by our city council to have city staff reach out to the individuals who may know more about what to do specifically with the community hall, movie theater sidewalk after we showed some photos. So I reached out to Travis Winter through Bolton and Mank, who set us up with a Teams meeting on a facility assessment. There are team members through Bolton and Mank that included architects and engineers who suggested that it would be wise to have a facility assessment completed on City Hall, the Community Hall and Theater, and the Municipal Liquor Store, as we felt those were the top 3 buildings that would need attention. So you have attached in your packet a proposal for this. Again, it is a fixed price. There is a fee that's broken down into phase 1 and phase 2. You'll see that phase 1 consists of an on-site investigation for a total of $2,636, and you will see that phase 2 is a report assessment that is $4,518. Total comes to $7,154.
Is the sidewalk leaking again?
Yes, it has been.
You said you sent pictures.
We showed photos at a recent council meeting of the sidewalk and the state of it. During that council meeting, it was asked of city staff, specifically by Councilmember Kramer, for us as city staff to look into or reach out to the people who know more about what it would take structurally to complete this, in efforts of being mindful of our city buildings. I think that a facility assessment is needed.
If this got approved, where would the money come from?
Sure. There
Or
was,
is it a next year budget item?
well, it depends on what council would like to do with our city buildings. There's a lot up for question in regards to things that have not been done over time, specifically with the community hall, theater, with the fundraising that has been completed for the theater building itself. Public Works did inform me in preparation for this meeting that there were current ongoing issues with the HVAC system at the community hall and theater. The current unit was installed in 2004, making it approximately 22 years old, and with a typical life expectancy of 20 to 25 years. This is going to phase out quickly. 3 years ago, the city received a quote of approximately $48,000, which included the unit, installation, and crane services. However, it was not repaired or replaced. Repairs have been completed at least 3 times on the heat exchangers. and there's been continuing issues. So I understand that $7,000 was not budgeted for this. It's council's discretion on if you would like to do this year or budget it for next. However, a concern is if HVAC goes down, $48,000 is substantial, as well as continuing to receive donations for a theater or a building for a new server. We have had earmarked funds in prior years for community hall and theater repairs with minimal repairs completed. I think it's something important that the city council consider.
Do we know how much we have in a set aside for that portion?
Over 7,000. I believe in the 3 years I've been here, we've budgeted at least 2,500 to 10,000 for the community hall building. Again, bringing this proposal forward was something that council had asked that I do, so that's why it's before you tonight.
Some things just get past us and we don't realize how long it's been.
Absolutely.
I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are needed there with that unique situation with the bathrooms underneath the sidewalk. It kind of opens a can of worms, and I figured, as long as we got somebody in town, we may as well get a snapshot of where the other buildings are at, because
Absolutely.
nothing gets fixed for free, or everything's aging.
Will they have to tear out the whole sidewalk, or?
I don't know for sure. If it would be to move those facilities somewhere else, it's bathrooms, it's mechanical rooms, so it's not an easy thing to say. And then if you remove the bathrooms down there, then what happens? So we're gonna combine all of that to, review what options there are. And I think in the proposal it said good, better, best for what you can do. So there's just, the building's old, and obviously it was a concern when MnDOT came through because they stayed away from it. Ironically, we did have plans from when the building was built, and then when the improvement that was done to it in the 90s, the structural design that there was skylights down there that got filled in. I think they were for light to shine up on the marquee that was out front. So
It was the bathroom light. There was lights in the bathroom.
is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that,
It was cutting edge in that time.
yeah,
And that time for having it in the sidewalk was,
it's impressive.
it was impressive at the
Plan
time,
was
yeah,
done.
And those lights are still there underneath the sidewalk,
Mhm.
yeah,
the glass block.
yeah.
Again, in efforts to have the city of Sherburne even begin processes of capital improvement planning, of projecting for the future, we've got to take a look at our facilities that we have and what we need for those.
And this would give an idea of costs too. One of the team members that's on this contracted for most of his life, so the idea was he'd be able to walk through and just give budgetary numbers, and we can kind of assign some years to it. Is it 0 to 5, 5 to 10? Just so you can better budget for some of this stuff, so it's not oh no, we have to put in $50,000 this year.
And it helps somebody initially bid or consider bids, give ballpark figures for starting points.
Yep.
Whiteboarding and
Yep.
be beneficial.
Well, we keep putting it
Band-Aid on the problem pretty soon. It's gonna be to the point where it's gonna cost us a lot of money at one time.
And we do have funds in the set aside. Or we have budgeted for it in previous years.
Correct.
So this money is there.
Why don't we go do this and see what the cost is gonna be for a total thing?
I think that's a great idea.
So we got the money that's budgeted.
And so this fixed
Not
fee of
budgeted,
$71.54 would be just for what Rick is talking about, so we can see what we're looking at.
So it would be for phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is listed as the on-site investigation, which has the structural components, mechanical systems, electrical, different site elements, and code compliance. Phase 2, which is the reporting and recommendation. So that's the good, better, best. There will be documented findings with photos, measurements, visual observations, different reports of maintenance, including cost estimates, associated costs for repair, replacement, and deferred maintenance costs. So absolutely.
And these reports would be free for others to look at, or we would own the specs that you gave us.
Correct.
Yeah.
We would own them and could
Mhm.
hand them out without infringement of.
I wanna make a motion that we go ahead with this.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to go ahead with the phase 1 and 2 for the $7,154. Any further discussion? Questions? All in favor with proceeding with the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to resolution 2026-14, declaring excess property. Andre, can you give us a background?
Absolutely. So before you, as stated, is resolution 2026-14, which is a resolution declaring certain city-owned property as excess property and authorizing its disposal. This is for the Alpha Snowplow through the street department, the elephant slide, the merry-go-round through the parks, kitchen prep table through the municipal liquor store, 3 very old laptop computers from City Hall administration, and then from the street department, the 1997 cat wheel loader with plow, Wausau plow, material bucket, and pallet fork, as well as the Alpha Snowplow. As listed in the resolution, the city clerk treasurer and appropriate department heads are then authorized to dispose of in a manner determined to be in the best interest of the city. And any proceeds received from the sale shall be deposited into appropriate city funds.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-14.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-14, excess property. Any further discussion or questions? We'll go to a roll call vote if not.
Kramer,
Yes.
Beckus,
Yay.
Bainey,
Yes.
Ringnell,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion passes.
And where do you think you're gonna list the elephant slide?
My recommendation, as provided to you in my council memo, is to list it locally, either by doing sealed bids or by an auction. We have had numerous calls, emails, messages, door knocks, people coming in. I'm sure you all have as well, in regards to what we're going to do with the elephant slide.
If we're doing a sealed bid, are you taking care of that, or does the council need to do that? Make a date?
Sure. Would you like me to make a date, or are you asking council to?
I don't know, if,
So I'll defer to council's decision first, prior to
30
mine.
30 days?
30 days.
30 days be enough? 30 days from today's date?
Okay.
August 6th.
Sold and gone?
What?
Sold and gone?
Yes.
open them at council meeting?
Yep, well, I can
Yes.
open them to prepare them for council, but yes.
At the next meeting, first meeting of August, whatever date that would be.
Let me take a look.
Yeah,
Our
it's not the exact date.
first meeting of August would be on the 3rd, so, council can decide if you want them to be submitted by July 29th, would be the last day I would need them to prepare them for the 3rd meeting. Otherwise, I could have them for the August 17th meeting.
Is a slide down at the city shop in there?
The slide is in an undisclosed location currently.
Okay. Well, I was
Once
just,
remaining.
If they put a sealed bid in the box by Monday
To
morning,
inspect it.
by Monday at noon, that would be fine, went to August 3rd
Sure,
by noon, because they could drop something in the box for the weekend.
sure, I could make that work.
If somebody wanted to look at it,
Some
can they
pictures of
look
it
at
on
it, or?
the city page.
Yes,
Okay.
we will arrange for that, yes.
We'll opt for it.
Yep. Does council want to put a starting price on that? Just, I mean, I can put it open to anything, but asking in preparation of.
Let's start at 200.
Yeah.
That's mine. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Do we need to have, do you want any starting prices on any of these or just the slide?
No, so, the slide is just fine. Specifically with the other pieces of equipment, for the wheel loader as well as plow, bucket, and fork. Those were traded with the, purchase agreement for the new wheel loader. I don't think that the merry-go-round is in any condition to ask for sealed bids. I'll touch base with Public Works in regards to what we're gonna do with
Is that
that.
the egg one?
It is.
I didn't think that was even around yet. It's
Yeah.
been gone for a long time.
They have it in-
Undisclosed locations.
In Clear Lake, Iowa, and they paint it and it looks awesome and they still use it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same exact thing.
The 3 laptop,
If people want it, they can contact City Hall for,
I mean, we can do the same thing for the merry-go-round.
Yep.
Why not?
Do that.
Sure. Laptop computers, those are outdated. We will just recycle those. Prep table, I will touch base with Jamie on in regards to pricing on that. Likely we'll do sealed bids or min bids for that one. So, no, specifically just looking for input on the elephant slide. August 3rd is the council meeting in which sealed bids will be opened. We will need by 8 a.m. I'd like by 8 a.m. Monday morning. Any interest to be submitted by.
The winning bidder will have to be paid as of the next,
I'll coordinate payment.
we'll coordinate payment, so if they don't pay, the next
Yep.
winning bidder would be in
Correct.
typical procedures. Okay, on to discussion of movie theater operations and contract.
Sure. So again, council had indicated that we should have some discussions regarding a contract with the current. We should just have a contract in general, or an agreement of some kind with anybody who is operating our movie theater. So I did have a meeting with Mike and Nikki Schwartz, who are the current operators of the theater. They indicated they have no problem with having a contract. However, they did show some opposition to certain items within the contract, specifically the operator responsibilities in section 5, stating complete routine maintenance and repairs costing less than $500 per occurrence. They would not be able to take that on at this time. Operating schedule has listed, there was expressed opposition to this based on the current industry. My suggestion would be to add something about if industry standards or current operations don't support this, to notify the city. I do believe that council should consider certain matters regarding the financial terms. There's multiple different options for this, depending on how you choose to move forward. And whether that be with the current operators, whether that be with having city council, or excuse me, this city hall, or the city take it over in some way, shape, or form. I did reach out to the city of St. James, as they have a municipally owned movie theater, but I did not get a response on that thus far. I just wanted to know a little bit about how that went, how they operated that. There were some concerns raised. I did give, after finding out that there are not financials readily available by the current operators. I did give them until the 15th of July to get me something. Not only for the city, but also for the Sherburne Theater Reboot Group. They wanted statistics, if they were going to be applying for any grants or any funding for that. But also the fact that they didn't have financials. They were unable to tell me ticket sales. They were unable to inform me on profit and loss, any of that. Concessions as well. Currently, they have everything grouped in with the historical theater in Jackson. So council has some decisions to make on how to move forward with this. I did ask, I've heard on multiple occasions how the current operators are losing revenue. I asked what that meant to them, as that's relatively subjective. And I was informed that between $20,000 and $30,000 annually is lost between Jackson and Sherburne theaters combined. When I asked what Sherburne's portion was of that, it was a third to a fourth, specifically because the city of Sherburne pays utilities in the building, whereas Jackson does not. The city of Jackson doesn't pay for those utilities because it is owned by the operators.
Is that what they lose on the movie portion, or not counting the concessions?
I was not able to get that information from them. I was told $20,000 to $30,000.
If you're losing $20,000 a year,
It's not a viable business.
it's not a viable business, so why would you still be in the business? So you'd almost think the concessions would have to
Something would have to give.
dump into there now.
They need to have better records.
Yeah.
We're not even able to look at any numbers.
So you'll note in the drafted agreement that there are reporting requirements, remembering that reporting requirements have not been asked of the current operators in an unknown amount of years, as I am unable to find any here. I did ask, the discussion also consisted of, within our meeting, the industry changing. I've been told that post-COVID, there's been a lot of changes industry-wide. Comments and remarks that were made back to me included that the studios aren't looking out for the little guys, the little towns anymore. The requirement is to pay approximately $500 to the studio at minimum to show a movie, essentially to own or to acquire that license to do so. And then after the show, they take the ticket sales times a certain percentage, which is approximately 60 to 70% of ticket sales, and then they have to pay the studios that as well if they were over that minimum. If ticket sales at our local theater didn't surpass that minimum, then it was just the $500. However, studios are now also requiring a certain amount of shows to be played, which is often difficult for one-screen theaters, which is what we have. Currently, I was told by the current operators that as it is, the industry is not sustainable, specifically with the community, the industry, and the studios themselves. So I'm hoping to have financials by the 15th so that I can potentially bring them to next council meeting. We have currently received enough funding to pay for the server. However, until council makes some determinations, I am not comfortable approving those or bringing them before you to have them approved by resolution or even depositing them until some decisions are made.
That sounds wise.
Have we contacted anybody else that might be interested in running the theater?
I have not.
No. It wouldn't be me, I don't know anything. But St. James has a municipal run theater. You just were unable to get any information.
Yeah. Hoping to touch base again, but get some more. The information I received initially was that city staff are required to operate if they don't have other employees to run, because then they are city staff, so that would have to be something that we take into consideration.
Need to run the creek.
Or maybe council members could volunteer.
Run the reel. That's what I used to do.
You know, we did discuss things that, you know, we got into some details that, you know, rent hasn't been collected in years. Rent used to be, to my understanding, $200 per month, which the current operators indicated went into a theater fix-it fund, or they thought did at the city. I have no official record of that without digging through archives.
Do we have a pulse on what the public want? Do they want a theater? Are they tired of theaters? Do we have any, it's like, let's have
The
some
responses
public-
that I've heard is they do want a theater.
And they wanna come and pay and actually come and watch movies.
That's
The
why.
idea of a theater versus supporting it with dollars.
The calls that we've received here and the people
Yeah.
who come in are pretty much solely wanting a theater, but we also hear a lot of feedback regarding the state of the building and management. They also want to see these things get improved, and that's where finances come in,
Right.
because there's a huge cost to doing all that, so.
Comes down to cost versus benefit.
Absolutely. Currently,
Fun.
right, so, in the past 3 years, there has been, an increasing amount annually budgeted for the community hall and theater. In 2023, it was 20,000, 2024 was approximately 20,000, 2026 was approximately 25,000, so it's been increasing. And that is just for, the building to stay open, cooled, heated,
It's still their building,
basic
so
utilities.
might as well use it,
Yeah,
unless we wanna get rid of it.
some things to consider. I think to move forward, to have numbers to come by the current operators, to find out where they stand, to crunch numbers better, to know what it's costing, what the loss per movie is. I mean, that's kind of what's happened.
Right.
Every movie played is so many dollars lost. And now the citizens wanna keep it, do they wanna pony up for the cost of it? It ultimately comes out of the city people's
Absolutely.
pockets.
And
We're buying it one way or the other.
yeah, I did schedule this meeting, with intentions of being able to obtain or easily obtain those financials to then bring them to this council meeting. However, I was not able to get anything from the current operators in regards to that. But absolutely, if it's something that, you know, this certainly, would delay things substantially, but if council would want that to go on a ballot during our next election to poll, if you would like the city's staff to just put out a poll, whether that be a mailer, general input from the community, there's multiple different options on how to proceed with that second part after receiving those current numbers. So if council would like to think about that as well, I will definitely have this on old business for our next council meeting. But
I could check with someone in St. James between now and our next meeting, so if you could get the financials, and I could talk to St. James and find out how theirs functions.
Sure.
And then we could come and at least have that information and proceed with a better decision moving forward.
Sure.
Schedule might be important too, in terms of how often they're open, because I know there's a lot of movie theaters out there that are open daily, and I know that's probably not Sherburne, but that could be a huge deal as well. I mean, if we're only open 4 days a month, well, there's probably not gonna be a lot of revenue there.
A lot of what nights, it's conflicted
No,
with
but the
some
more
other
it's open, then the
activities.
more heat you got, the more AC you got.
True.
You got more expenses going out that way as well.
I would say that the heat, and it might have to work a little harder if there's more bodies in there, certainly, but
We already paid it though.
we're already paying.
Typically, it's conditions.
I did receive information from the current operators that peak season, is May to July, and then November to December. Just for council's information. But yes, currently operating on only Friday, Saturday, and Sundays has been the standard.
It's us that'll last long. Oh.
Anything further for the discussion? Take that issue up next meeting. Old business.
I have nothing on old business for the agenda.
Police chief report.
Well, I would like to say thank you to Carly for the kind words, so much appreciated. We are moving into our 7th month of just Carolyn and I, so our circumstances are where we are spread a little thin. The ordinances and grass are something that I myself handle personally. I don't ask her to do any of that. It's just easier for me to keep track of. I believe the house in question is 201 South Lake Street, the one to the west of you.
That vote yesterday
Okay. What's the one in question?
on Delana, the green one.
Corner house there? Okay. He was not on my last round. I didn't think he fit the bill my last round. My last round would have been a week ago, so June 29th. I work again on Wednesday morning. We'll be tagged on Wednesday. Public Works should mow him on Friday then. So I do a grass list every week. Some days it's Mondays, some days it's Wednesdays. Sometimes there's 6 yards on there, sometimes there's 16 yards on there. It does vary. Last time I talked to Winter at the creamery, he had just sprayed. He had tried a different spray than he had done in years past. I don't know if it didn't work or if it was a combination of the rain and the moisture that didn't quite take, but it didn't get addressed. We had our bicycle rodeo the weekend of the 27th. It would have been a Saturday. We had 7 participants show up for the city of Sherburne. A little low, but what do you do? We had 0 show up and welcome, so that's nice. Outside of that, I don't have anything else for you, unless the table does.
Any questions?
There was a letter mailed to TNA Towers or K&T Towers, the owners of the Verizon building. They function out of Atlanta, asking them to at least call me and see if we can set up some sort of game plan. Not a timeline, I just want to make contact with them.
Thank you for doing that, yeah.
That, as far as I know, that property hasn't been, I can use the word maintained outside of their little road for its entire existence. I think it was sold to that company in 2006. I think the shrubs and the trees that have grown just grown from day one. So
Looks like it.
if they're willing to play ball, great. If not, maybe that needs to be a city expense to take care of. So right now, the other aspect that was brought to them was if there was maintenance being done on that and an ambulance or a fire truck needed to make it back there, questionable.
Inaccessible.
whether or not it could. I personally never had a vehicle back there. I've never had a squad car back there. I don't know what the perimeter around those towers are, so. But that's the angle we're gonna take on it for the time being and see if they can play ball with us. So, anything from the table?
We did the bike rodeo in May instead, so they can be informed at school and take something home with them. Would that be a better
Sure,
time?
try. In years past,
know.
I've gotten the flyer out 2 months in advance and they've all gotten to go home with them.
Mhm.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
So, I get all kinds of feedback from welcome residents the entire year leading up to it, and I don't get a single.
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't get anybody over there.
We've had low years over there. I think this is only the 3rd year that we've had welcome do their own separate one. We've never had 0.
Right.
So, anything else?
Along that line, all the electric bikes and scooters and children, kids and adults on the streets with electric,
Bikes, scooters,
yeah.
mopeds, the whole 9.
do we need to look into some type of, or is that an open a can of worms? For what laws and,
The state's not super clear on what they want to do with it yet. So, not that we're in a holding pattern with it right now, but for the time being, we're just doing education for reports that we do have. Right now, I don't want to address it
I think to be aware that down the road it could be, or we could be there now.
Yeah.
Maybe look at something. They can go fast in a matter of seconds. And with traffic crossing a major, I mean, Highway 4 is still a major highway, but it slows down for the town. Just you see it, yeah.
There's supposed to be a certain age for the certain power of bike, they're still supposed to have lights on front and back at night, they're still supposed to wear helmets under a certain age, you're still supposed to be following the normal bicycle laws. So, and the problem is we get reports of kids on bikes. That's great, because 45 seconds later, those kids on bikes are already driving through town. So I don't know what the kids on bikes would do.
Yeah,
So that's half the battle, because they do accelerate very quick.
they do, pretty quick.
So right now I don't have a game plan for you.
Something about it. Thank you. Now let's move on to the clerk's update.
Sure, so I just want to update City Council that the purchase agreement for the payloader has been signed as it was approved by City Council during our last council meeting. Paul is currently working on obtaining quotes for a additional public works truck. Additional information will be brought back to council once options and pricing is available. I wanted to update council that the former Temperance Lake Ridge van will now be utilized by our public works department, specifically our part-timer. The IT service transition has occurred between Midwest IT to Custom Computers. Staff has been working with Custom Computers to go over our current systems, to address our needs, and to get everything in order for that. We did, Sean and myself have a meeting with Randy King, our building official, since the last time the City Council has met. We did discuss current concerns, which also included the creamery. Ultimately, within the creamery discussion, the scope of work that would need to be completed by a building official does not fall within our current building official's contracted terms. He can do them, but it is listed in the appendix of his contract for additional fees and services. This was also something that our city attorney addressed and stated that we would need somebody to do for any of the dilapidated properties. So we had asked council at a previous meeting to start considering what priority levels you would like to address the current buildings at. We also asked our building official to just take a look at some of these and give us some input on them as well. That itself is within scope, but to perform specific inspections would be additional. Yep. Randy King, our building official, also stopped down at Local Lumber, met with a couple contractors, and just drove around through the town. I did attend the League of Minnesota Cities annual conference in Rochester and participated in sessions covering budgeting, challenges that our small cities are facing, different legislative updates, and best practices in municipal government. The information and resources that I obtained there will continue to help us grow here at City Hall. I did complete the workers' comp audit, which is something that is completed on an annual basis through Berkeley Risk. If there's any follow-up that Heather needs there, I will certainly get that to her, but for right now we should be good on that. I also coordinated with a contractor regarding 100 North Main Street that consisted of the water issue per the purchase agreement that was brought up at our last council meeting. The ash trees at Main City Park have been treated for emerald ash borer. Again, something that was discussed and approved at our last council meeting. We have so far received 3 completed applications and 2 additional resumes for the part-time administrative assistant position. I would like to hold that open a little while longer to see if we get any further applications or the completed applications from those who have just submitted resumes. I would like to put an end date for that potentially the end of next week, if council sees fit, so that we can then move forward with interviewing and applicant selection and recommendation by personnel committee. And then finally, some of our park equipment was installed and had a pretty significant near miss of a tree that fell in our city park the very next day. So we're thankful that Mother Nature assisted and didn't completely demolish the new playground equipment that had just been put in at our main park. We're currently waiting on wood chips that are needed for the installation area. And then additionally, the incorrect canopy color was delivered for the South Park. And so installation of the canopy and then the digger is delayed until the correct materials arrive. However, today we did receive a Gopher locate for the foundation for that canopy. So I'm hoping that is soon. There is no additional freight or mobilization fee that will be assessed to the city for the error. That's all I have for you.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
The training that you have been able to go through, has it helped? And I know the answer to this. Has it helped your job and running the things you have to do with your scheduling and performance of your job?
Yeah, absolutely. I think not only has it assisted in day-to-day operations, but it has also brought to light a lot of things that the city has not been or is not doing that many other communities are, and most of those communities are then successful as well. So absolutely.
For the short time I've been here, I've seen improvements, and you've had some good training.
Yeah.
It's been very beneficial.
Yeah.
Those work sessions and training.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. This job for both Sean and myself doesn't come with an official training manual, and with the turnover that occurred prior to both of our employments in both of the positions within this office, there has been a struggle. There has been a lot of things that have not occurred at this table in this office, and I think a lot of that comes from lack of training and lack of knowing what is going on in surrounding communities, not just those within our close-knit area. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to go to the conferences and the trainings that I have, and then to bring that back to our city.
Contacts and brainstorming and just
Absolutely, networking. Yeah.
Networking's really big at the conferences.
Absolutely. There's designated time set aside for networking. In fact, at the League of Minnesota Cities conference that I attended in Rochester, there was an entire breakout session that was designated for networking. The League of Minnesota Cities annual conference is a little different than the MCFOA, the Clerks and Finance Officers one, because the League of Minnesota Cities also has council members and mayors attend their conference. And so within that educational session, there was breakout between different council members, mayors, and city clerks or city staff. We could converse with one another. We could have roundtable discussions. You could have just discussions based on your role. It was really nice to be able to build some of those networking pathways, as well as obtain the information that I had there.
thank you for the feedback for your conferences. I think people have been saying it's a key win.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Report from the mayor and other council members. Brad, do you have
South Main and South Minnehaska have trees that are over the street, and 2 months ago when I drove the fire truck down there, it was hitting the lights.
Mm-hmm.
So those need to be addressed.
It is on Public Works list.
Okay, hydrant flushing, when is that going to be completed?
I know that is also on Public Works list. I can't speak to that, and Public Works is not here tonight.
Okay, and did the set-aside money get put into those accounts from last year's budget yet?
So again,
And do we have a total?
Yep, so the accounts are not physical accounts, they're accounts within our fund accounting system itself.
Mhm.
Yes,
So if I asked you a total, you could tell me tomorrow.
I would have to look into it, but yes.
Okay, that's all.
any other members? Concerns?
So did the building inspector give us, or building official give us any insight on anything when he was here?
In regards to what?
any of these dilapidated buildings, homes.
Absolutely. He said they were a major concern and needed to be addressed. But
Well,
that's
that's vague as heck.
well,
and it-
again, based on the information that was provided to you by the city attorney, that
Yeah.
takes council action first. He cannot, again, we can send, just as our former building official did, we can send all the letters that we want that has no backing without council taking legal action or the city taking legal action. So,
He can do all the inspections in the world. He can go from location to location to location. He can write down his reports. He can provide them to council. But at the end of the day, it's gonna have to go to court unless that homeowner is willing to take care of that property. It's unfortunately the way the law works. I mean, you have to give the homeowner an opportunity, and you have to make sure you get it in certified mail. They have to respond, and if they don't, then you can file paperwork with the court system, which would go through our
And we
attorney.
have done this with a few properties already.
none of them have went through legal court,
There was,
Our building
Certified.
official has
sent certified mail, yes.
and has deemed properties a nuisance.
Yep.
But that's only the very, very beginning of the legal forefront of it all.
so, is it, follow-up, I can't remember, was there a time frame? Like, didn't he give them a time frame as to when to?
Again, I could send, a building official could send, you could send letters to any individual with a dilapidated property and state that by this day it needs to be taken care of, without taking that to court, without filing the proper paperwork through the court system, it holds no weight. So that's where I brought the memo from our city attorney to you in regards to how much it costs per property. With the approximately 20 properties that we had, I believe it was
You could make a motion
60,000.
today.
3,000 now they're.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yep, you can make a
3,000
motion
per person.
today to have us reach out to him and start that process. But the right thing to do would probably be to get a list of those properties and start with the biggest concern from you guys, from our residents, and start at the top, because if you try to address all 20 at one time, it's
Yeah,
it's
that's what,
unaffordable.
Right.
that's kind of what
So
I
I
was wondering.
hear-
He said anything about, this one is the worst one that should be in
He
it.
said he was gonna drive through town. He said he was gonna let us know
Yep.
what he felt was the worst in this case. However, that also is gonna require inspections, and he says most of the homes that we have, or at least the list that we provided him, are not even worth going in interior. And so he's just going to do an exterior inspection.
And all of them are on a top priority list. So it's really up for council to determine and then to direct city staff to then take those steps necessary.
So he's gonna be sending us a list of what he thinks, and then we can go from there, or no?
No, council needs to make determinations on where to go from here and then direct city staff to direct our building official or ask our building official to then take further steps per his contract rates
And for
in
what
appendix and for what properties they would like to see that done on. So if council would like to create a subcommittee of sorts to determine some of the blighted properties in town, if one individual would like to take that on, that's up for council's discretion, but until we receive further information from our council, as has been indicated, our building official or city staff can't proceed.
It would cost more money to take property A, to start the legal process, to condemn it, or whatever it takes to get it where it's seized, and then it comes back, we own a piece of property that's worth way more to get rid of the stuff than what we would ever get the value of it.
Sure, so the
It's
legal,
kind of expense to cost us more money down the road, it's kind of where we're at.
yeah, so look, I think looking at the latter part of that in regards to how much it's going to cost to take down a building is certainly where there's going to be cost differences. There should not be any cost differences aside from, I should say, there should be no cost differences initially in bringing some of these dilapidated properties to court. Aside from if some property owners want to not have to go through all of the proceedings.
Just to forfeit the property.
Right,
It's
right.
to clean it up.
You know, some property
We've had
owners may drag their feet, which is then gonna cost the city more But from a basic legal standing, it was approximately $3,000 per property.
A typical property value, if it was cleared, would be valued at what?
So-
$8,000.
Yeah, bare lots are selling anywhere from 5 to 10, but then you have to, you know, potentially demo.
That'd be a buildable
Property.
site. A buildable bare site.
Mhm.
With no basements or
Correct,
fallen in buildings.
correct. That's what bare lots are currently selling for.
Has the TLR met since our last meeting?
They have not. Our next meeting is scheduled following our second council meeting of this month, so on the 20th.
And our EDA doesn't meet until 2 days after our next council meeting.
Our EDA meets on the 15th.
Oh yeah, that's, just kidding. I don't remember what the date is today.
That's okay. So our EDA meets on the 15th, and then we have a council meeting on the 20th, with the Temperance Lake Bridge meeting to follow.
So then we should have some info for the council after our EDA meeting. I feel like I had something else, but I don't know what it is.
I've got nothing. Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
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 Is this,
Thank you.
is this going to be a furniture sale, do you know?
Which one? That one, so the answer to that is eventually,